everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. And in today's video, we are talking about Michael Bay's Transformers. And in today's video, I am joined by my brother and best friend, Robbie Reed.
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
So in this video, we're just gonna hang out, talk about Transformers, the first movie specifically. And yeah, Robert is a huge Transformers fan. He's always been a huge Transformers fan. He has multiple tattoos for Transformers across his whole arm. Yeah, like I remember growing up as a kid, we would talk about the animated series non-stop and he would roast me as far as just, when I say roasting, he would just know all the details, all the names of all the robots. I mean, I thought I was a Transformers fan growing up, but
man, I love Transformers. It's literally my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was awesome. My parents got me the Transformers comics. They got me the Transformers literal toys, the Legos, everything, man.
So yeah, before we get too much further into this video, just so you guys know, Robert and I used to be in a band together. The dude's super talented. He's still playing music, an amazing guitarist. He's starting to sing a lot more now. And he just started a YouTube channel himself, so I'm gonna leave all his links in the description box below where you can check him out. Give him some love. He's just starting out on YouTube, and he's going to be talking about comic books, Transformers, Star Wars, specifically DC and Marvel. He's a huge fan of the Arrowverse. This guy watches the episodes of all the TV series in the Arrowverse more than anybody I know. Almost every week he's watching rewatching the Flash episodes constantly.
One of the biggest, man, I love the Flash. My favorite DC hero.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. One of the biggest Flash fans I've ever met. Maybe outside of my dad, because my dad's a huge fan too. But you know way more than him, I would say. And yeah, you know, just go give him some love. I just wanted to say all that before we get too deep into this review for this movie. So right off the bat, I'll go ahead and say that my thoughts on the first Transformers movie is that I love them. I think it has a lot of the things that Michael Bay is known for in the movie, you know, like the big explosions and some of the like super sexualized moments, you know, especially with Megan Fox in the movie and some of the jokes.
Megan Fox is my girl, don't forget that.
Miss Toe Thumb.
Oh my god.
But the first time I saw Transformers and somebody pointed out the whole toe thumb thing to me.
You can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it, like not even a little bit. But but outside of that, yeah, you know, I've always really enjoyed this movie. You know, it's a little more vulgar than I think a Transformers movie should be compared to anything that had come up before Transformers related.
True that, yeah.
But I think for the first ever live action Transformers movie, bringing back Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, I mean, the movie looks beautiful, the action's fantastic, and I think it stays true for at least to the story for the fans, and I think it brings a whole new fun and exciting element to it. I really enjoy Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky in this film. So what are your general thoughts on this?
I was just about to say, man, I completely agree. Shia LaBeouf really killed it as Sam Witwicky. And I think most people who have ever seen the Transformers animated series or any kind of animated series, they have multiple animated series from the 1970s. And then they have this new one that came out recently as in like 2012.
Is it a new Transformers series?
Yeah, it's Transformers Prime. It's on Netflix.
You know what? I did hear about that. I don't think I've seen a single episode.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah?
It's not bad.
Is Peter Cullen still Optimus in that?
To be honest with you, yeah, actually he is. No, okay. He is in it. But it's actually not bad. It takes a little different take on the Transformers, but hey, what are you gonna do? You know, we're getting more modern with things. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how many times can you do the same kind of thing about transforming robots without changing it up to some extent?
True.
So yeah, real quick, I just wanted to say that like you mentioned about like Shia LaBeouf being great as Sam Witwicky, and I agree. I think in this movie, he's easily the strongest that he was as the character. As the movies progressively went on, which we won't really talk about all the other ones. We're really just talking about the first one here. Yeah. I think his character and the way he reacts to seeing the Transformers for the first time
is phenomenal.
Is awesome. I think I've always loved Shia LaBeouf as an actor, and this is easily one of my favorite performances from him.
To expand upon that, the storyline in the first Transformers movie, beautiful. Obviously, every movie has its flaws.
Yeah, of course.
This first Transformers movie had its flaws. We didn't see Bumblebee crash down to Earth like we saw the other Transformers. But then again, that just makes it so that he was the first, you know, the first one there from the new era of Transformers. As some of you may know, if you know about Transformers, you know, there's older Transformers that were there from like the dawn of time, things like that. We won't get too much into that. But yeah, no, this first Transformers movie, I think my favorite part of the movie would have to be, it might be cliche, but when Bumblebee makes that signal call, the call to space for everybody to come for all the Autobots to come to the planet, and they all start crash landing, and things are going haywire everywhere, all over town. And that scene where the one robot he falls into a pool in this house, and this little girl just goes out there, and she's just like,
isn't that Optimus?
I think that might. I think it's either Ironhide or Optimus, one of the two, because it was a big one.
Yeah, because he like comes out all slow, and the water's like coming off of him.
Actually,
I think that may be Optimus.
You actually might be right. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, he won up to me. He might be right, because the way how the music behind that was just some like angelic chorus.
Yeah.
And the girl's just looking at him like with a little teddy bear in her hand, and it's just the way.
I've always loved that scene for sure.
Yes,
like I think the way that it's directed, and that's what I gotta say. Like a lot of people take a crap on Michael Bay, and he definitely took a crap on the sequels.
Yeah, he took a turn for the worst.
Yeah, for sure. And it just became more about the action sequences. But I think the first movie has a lot of charm. And the action sequences, but yeah, like the music, the tone, the vibe. Though there may be some overly sexualized jokes and some vulgarity and stuff, and some characters and some dialogue that doesn't work. I think on an overall basis, the movie is very well acted. It knows what kind of movie it is. There's some stuff that I would have cut out, but I thoroughly enjoy it for the most part, and I think it's undeniably a beautiful looking film.
The special effects in this movie, the first movie, are just on point, to say the least. Just to say the least, it is on point, and to encapsulate all of the things that go on in it. It really dives into more about the Transformers than about humans. Yes, there's a lot of humans in it, but this Transformers movie did a phenomenal job in focusing on the robots. Like, there's these scenes with Optimus and Ratchet and Ironhide and Jazz and Bumblebee when they came to Sam Witwicky's house, and he's like, hurry up, we need the glasses. We must have those glasses. Like, it's like awesome.
Yeah, I love those scenes. You know what I mean? And I love the focus of like, I love the relationship that they build with Sam Witwicky throughout the film, and that's what I think disappointed me with some of the sequels. Is how that kind of gets shifted, and some of the characters kind of get thrown off to the side. I remember like. Spoilers if you care, like Ironhide ends up just kind of getting killed off in the worst way, and I can't remember which sequel. I think it's like the third or fourth one.
It's the third one.
Yeah. And it just the way that they set the characters up in such a strong and cool and fun way in this movie. It felt like a big, more adult-oriented version of the comic books.
They kind of made it seem like how it would have been in like Transformers Armada. That's like the most known and famous animated series, aside from the one from the 1970s and 80s. Yeah. But no, specifically in Transformers Armada, it's called Armada for a reason. There's so many new Autobots that come into the fold. The same thing with the Decepticons. There's so many of them, and then you have the incorporation of the Minicons too in that series. So with the first movie, how they set it up, it made it seem like, man, they were about to bring in an army, and it was just going to be literally how it was. Them fighting on Earth, trying to establish Cybertron back on Earth. And Michael Bay said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to make this the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but though in the first movie that's where it's disappointing, because in the first movie he does such a great job with it, and though it has your typical MacGuffin, they're going for the cube, that the one thing that the enemy wants to do one thing with,
that battle scene was amazing.
But the final battle sequence of this movie is just, I think if you're into action, if you're into sci-fi, I think it's undeniable that it's so much fun to watch, so exciting, so much is going on, some of the coolest action. I will say there's a few moments where some of the CG is like what the heck is going on. I would say, you were mentioning the different Autobots a second ago. The one Autobot for me that I just always felt was like, is Jazz. And it's because they made him a stereotype. I know that the idea was that he kind of like studied up through the internet, like what people on Earth are like.
And the kind of car he was, I think it was...
a Porsche.
Right? Yeah, just like one of those, at that time, newer style Porsche. But he was just the stereotypical kind of hood car.
Yeah, like when he's like, just everything that he would say, it was just a little bit too much. And I think it's characters like that lean into some of the humor that I don't like too much in this movie. But I don't think that this movie has too much of that compared to the sequels. You know what I mean? There's sequels where robots are humping like people's legs and stuff like that. But in this one, I think that they kept that pretty tame. And I always really enjoyed the lore of this movie. Like I remember rewatching this movie a lot, like when it came out on DVD and stuff. And I always really enjoyed like everything that happened with you know, Sam Witwicky's grandfather in the past, and them discovering
that was awesome how they
you know,
that.
and everything with like Megatron being in ice all that time, and when that scene where Megatron breaks out from area whatever,
I think it's a oh my god, Area 50. It's not Area 51.
It's not Area 51, no.
Man,
But area something. But yeah, guys, I've just always thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I don't have too many negatives to say outside of, like I said, the dialogue can be a little clunky and cheesy and a little bit too hammy at times. There's times where they're just being vulgar and trying to be sexual just for a sense of a laugh that doesn't always land for me. But I think that the characters that the movie actually focuses on, the villains and the heroes, are all set up in a cool and fun way. It feels like the cartoons are brought to life. So I really couldn't complain too much. Yeah. I think that the story is easy and enough to follow, and they don't make it convoluted like some of the sequels end up making it. And I think for me as a Transformers fan, and I can only imagine for you, having Peter Cullen come back for the first live action
was astounding.
Transformer movie. I mean, hearing that voice of Optimus Prime come out of him when he first spoke was fantastic, and the CGI, you know, I think it still holds up. I think the CG for that movie still holds up when you watch certain scenes. I've always really enjoyed as well the actor who played Megatron in this movie. What's his name? I'm struggling right now.
I can't remember his name, but I do like.
He's the same guy who plays the Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving. He is also the same guy who plays Red Skull in the MCU.
Oh
he
man!
Plays,
no wonder.
Yeah, he plays the agents in the
Matrix.
Matrix. And so yeah, he's a fantastic actor, and I've always loved his voice. Robert has one of my favorite lines from any Transformers movie, tattooed on his arm right now. Is it fear or courage that compels you?
And specifically, Megatron saying that to Sam Witwicky when Sam is like trying to defend the cube, trying to show that humans can make a difference too. That's kind of the underlying theme, I think, of Sam Witwicky's character in this movie. It's the fact that, yes, these robots are futuristic and they're living organisms, but in essence, it comes down to a human saving them and them saving the human. You know, it's a working relationship.
Yeah.
And it's just Megatron going to Sam and saying, "Is it fear or courage that compels you, fleshling?" You know, and it's just that when I heard that live, first of all, that gave me chills.
Yeah, the way he says it too.
Yeah, exactly. Like he calls them fleshling, kind of a derogatory term when you think about it. Yeah. But Optimus Prime is saying the humans, you know, because we're humans, and he's trying to defend these innocent beings or these beings that can't really defend themselves against a threat like Megatron. Yeah, so it's just a beautiful quote, a beautiful moment in the movie. And another thing that I like that this first movie did was Megatron and Starscream. Every single animated show, every episode that had these two Decepticons together, Starscream is looked on as a little wimp by Megatron, and he's always trying to one-up Megatron behind the radar. He's always trying to take over control of the Decepticons. And in this movie, Megatron is just, you know, him and Starscream come together, and he's just like, you know, what are you doing, man? Like, he kind of kicks him, you know, steps on his head, and it's just like in the cartoon. It's amazing.
That's what I'm saying. They kept the banter and
man, they kept it kind of true.
They kept it true to the characters, you know, and I think that's what makes it so awesome. And you talked about the underlying themes of the film, and I think you were touching on something that I definitely love about the movie, is that in the end of the day, you know, the Autobots were looking for a new home, you know, a new place to live. And the Megatron was, and the Decepticons were looking for the same thing, but with the idea to make Earth their new Cybertron. Whereas, you know, Optimus was able to come to Earth and recognize that the life that's already on this planet
is worth saving
and worth living amongst and protecting. So I've always really loved that idea, and it really just speaks to the human spirit and speaks to the human will and all that kind of stuff. So I genuinely love this movie. I think it's one of those that I think that's what made it more disappointing for me, that the sequels in a lot of ways ended up getting worse in some areas. They always really retained a beautiful look and great CG, but it obviously doesn't make a movie. And I think that this is the one Transformers movie, and I haven't seen Bumblebee personally. Have you seen Bumblebee yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I've been slacking, but I've heard like nothing but good things, and some of my friends who've seen it have told me that as a Transformers fan, I'm going to lose it because apparently I hear it's
the best one.
It's like so close to how the cartoons are and just the lore from back in the day, that it rivals, you know, like it just rivals how good the cartoons were. So the fact that I haven't seen it yet, it disappoints me. So
Yeah, no.
but I can't wait to see it because, man, Bumblebee is, you know, one of everybody's favorite characters.
Yeah, I hear it's a reboot. Did you hear that? It's rebooting the franchise. So like,
Well then.
Yeah, so it plays
Sorry,
as
Michael Bay.
it plays as a prequel, but it's apparently they just announced that it's gonna play as a reboot to the sequel. Because I heard that it plays as a prequel, but at the same time there's so many new elements added to it that it feels like it's not like it's not necessarily connected to the Michael Bay film. So I'm okay with that personally. I think that it's time to reboot the Transformers franchise in a new direction and start to make it feel more in line with what Transformers is and should be. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I remember walking out of this and being excited, and when they announced the second one, I was super excited because of this movie. And
we were severely let down with that one.
Yeah, I think the second one's gonna be one of my least favorite in the whole franchise, to be honest. But as far as this one goes, I think it was awesome. It also gave us that awesome song by Linkin Park, "What I've Done." I've never gotten tired of the song.
Man.
I also love that last little bit. Like I could have done without certain elements, like. They probably could have cast somebody better than Megan Fox, though I don't hate her in this movie. I personally don't.
I love Megan Fox.
Good to see. All right, well, I'll give you that for sure. But yeah, you know, I think this is just a fun Transformers movie. I think if you're a fan of big transforming sci-fi robots, you can't go wrong with this movie, to be honest.
It's a nerd's paradise. Come on.
Yeah, it's not perfect in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think we're trying to say that at all. And in some ways, I think it leans more into being a movie for Transformers fans. I can see some people not liking it, but I think that this movie is what hyped people up so much, because I remember for years, there's people who were not Transformers fans were excited about all the Transformers sequels. That kind of started to die out because the movie started to get worse. But I think it was this movie that really hyped people. I remember when the second one came out, everybody was hyped. People who did not like Transformers, like the animated series or anything, video games, anything.
I went to opening night and there was a line. Like there was a line there, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is gonna be awesome. Disappointment.
Yeah.
But you know, well, hopefully, if like you know what, I'm sure what you said is true. That it's gonna be a reboot. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go see it.
Yeah, I gotta see Bumblebee because I've heard really, really good things about it, and I definitely slacked on seeing it in theaters. But I know once it comes out on Blu-ray, I'll definitely watch it and do a review for it. I definitely plan on doing a review of all the Transformers movies. Maybe we can make it a point to do that all together. Yeah, Dark of the Moon. I'm not. Is that Dark of the Moon? That's the next one?
Yeah.
No. Revenge of the Fallen.
It's Revenge of the Fallen,
which
is
Dark
of the Moon.
Oh God, Revenge of the Fallen is just gonna be a headache to review. That one's just we're gonna be crapping on it the whole time. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be our review. I don't really have too much more to say. You got anything else to say? Maybe some more negatives you want to throw? Any more positives, or you think you said what you gotta say?
The only thing I can really say is Optimus Prime and Megatron will always be a dynamic and super effective force of good and evil.
They're like a perfect representation of good and evil.
Geez.
You know what I mean? No, I know what you meant. They're kind of like the Jedi and Sith. You know, they're just that perfect way to just describe good and evil in a story. You know what I mean? And I think that they were portrayed beautifully in this movie. And then you have some things that could have been cut out, but I think for the most part, there's a lot of heart and charm in this movie with some great action. And I think for sci-fi fans overall, you can't go wrong. But yeah, guys, you know what? This first Transformers movie, I think, gets a bad rap because of some of the other sequels, but I think that it got people hyped for a reason. This is a very solid and great Transformers film. It's not perfect, but I think I always have a great time watching it. I want to thank my boy Robbie for doing this review with me and joining the channel. You probably see him in a vlog that I'm posting around the same time as this video. And yeah, I just really, really want to push you guys to check out his channel, give him some love, check out his all the stuff he's got going on. I'm going to leave the description box filled with all his links and all that kind of stuff. And you just want to take a quick moment, give a shameless plug, tell them what you're doing,
yeah,
where they can find you, all that kind of stuff.
So basically, just to sum it up, I'm going to be doing a channel based on the Marvel and DC universe, specifically the Arrowverse that's on TV right now. I know many of you have probably seen Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and the new show, Black Lightning. I haven't really watched that too much, but you know, as a DC fan and a Marvel fan, but this is DC we're talking about. As a DC fan, I do have to dive into that too, and Supergirl. I'm going to be doing reviews of those and some comic book stuff too. Of course, I'm going to incorporate my musician side for those of you who know me. We've done music together, as he said earlier, and I'm going to be incorporating that, Transformers reviews, Star Wars reviews, Star Wars for life. So yeah, that's just a brief synopsis. So definitely please check out the channel. It's going to be showing a different side of me. Most people don't really hear me talk too much. I'm very quiet, you know, soft-spoken, but this is going to be a new side of me that I'm showcasing my nerdy side, my true nerdy side, and showing what I'm passionate about, and hopefully you guys will be passionate about it too.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, comment down below. Let us know what you thought about this. Did you love Transformers? Did you hate Transformers? You know the spiel. Make sure you share this video to other people that you think will like this video, and subscribe for more videos. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.